I have been so blessed and overwhelmed by all your support for this podcast. Seriously, it means the world to me. The show wouldn't be what it is without your help. And if you'd like to find out how you can help support this podcast further, just shoot me a mail at kazilajosh@icloud.com. That's KAZHILAJOSH@icloud.com. Or simply comment help on whatever platform you're listening on, and I'll get back to you. Your support helps me keep creating these episodes and helps the show grow even more. Hey, welcome to the 42 Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Kajila. This is a space built primarily for athletes where their stories are told and shared with the world. The name 42 means for the athlete to the world, and that's exactly our mission. Along the way, we'll also dive into everything happening in our wonderful world of sports. So whether you're an athlete, a fan, or just love a good story, you are in the right place. Hey, welcome back to the 42 Sports Podcast. My name is Joshua Kajila. Last week was a bit quiet. My apologies for that, but this week we are back to our normal routine. And if you wanted to catch the last episode we uploaded, that was Meet the Athlete with Jaden Turlow, the cyclist. And he's much more than a cyclist. He's actually somebody who I've been friends with for a long time, since the beginning of high school. So it's almost 10 years now that we've known each other. And I really recommend that interview just to understand his heart, what drives him as a cyclist and as an athlete, some of the challenges he has faced. I think it will give you some encouragement as you head into this week. Starting off this week though, I want to chat about the Springboks and Ireland game. And South Africa won, which was good. But when I was watching that game, specifically in the first 40 minutes, the first half, it was quite a scrappy game, which is, again, not uncommon with rugby. Some games flow a lot easier, some games don't. That's not really groundbreaking stuff. But I've been noticing a trend over the last few games that I've seen personally, but just in general in world rugby. The officiating has been hotly debated in recent weeks. South Africans have had to have their own locks. Franco Mostert and Louis Diocha sent off for questionable actions during a game, which led to them being sent off. And then actually previously, or that game, South Africa versus Ireland, the Irish, they had to also see one of their big forwards sent off, James Ryan, after a dangerous clear out on Malcolm Marx. And then they also received, I think it was around about 4 yellow cards. So just a very disappointing, frustrating game, I think, for the Irish. But it felt, rugby feels a bit strange currently to me. And this is somebody who isn't the biggest fan of rugby. That doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just soccer is always going to be my number one sport. And so I'm more up to date with every little change that happens in the world of soccer. So when there are changes to rugby, this was during the rugby championship, and there was a game I was watching, I think with one of my friends, and I can't remember who was playing, but it was definitely the Boks versus someone. There was a moment where somebody kicked it into the opposition 22, and then they ended up winning the line out. I think it must have been the All Blacks. It might have been the All Blacks actually. But I didn't know about the 50-22 rule. That was a new rule that I guess I was kind of exposed, because I asked my friend, wait, how did the All Blacks win that line out? I thought they were the ones that kicked it out. But he was explaining to me the whole concept of the 50-22. I don't want to explain it again just in case I don't fully understand it. But even the whole thing of a 20-minute red card, to me, what's the point of a red card if it's only going to be for 20 minutes? I understand, but it's just another rule change that growing up wasn't really present. And so hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Before we dive back into the episode, I'd love it if you could take a quick moment to support this podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leaving a review or a rating goes a long way. And if you're watching on YouTube, a like, a comment, or even subscribing would mean the world to me. All right, that's enough from my side. Let's get back into the show. Recently in rugby, especially head contact, I think that's a big point of contention because these rules and regulations are in place to keep the rugby players safe, which is a good thing. I'm not against that. But I think it can become a bit tricky and challenging if these regulations are applied without context. In a sport like rugby, where it's not just black and white. So let's say, for example, like chess, whether that's a sport or not, that's not my battle to fight, but it's a good example. In chess, there's certain moves that are permitted. There's no need for contextual understanding. There's no, oh, sorry, my hand slipped, or, oh, sorry, like, I don't know, the opposition looked at me funny and all of that. Like in rugby, sometimes you will bump into somebody's head, so there'll be head contact. Sometimes it will be forceful, but accidental. Sometimes it won't be accidental. Sometimes it will be deliberate. And so even if it's accidental and there's not a lot of force behind the move, then I think in those instances, you can just be like, you know what? Okay, there was head contact, but it's not dangerous play. Because I can get behind rules and regulations that prevent dangerous play. As much prevention as you can do in a game like rugby, where it's by nature a little bit dangerous, but that's besides the point. So I think context needs to be applied to every single decision, because there have been one or two that I've watched recently where I'm like, okay, by definition there was head contact, but I don't know if that head contact warranted a red card or a sending off or a yellow card even. So I think if World Rugby can revisit that, then the end product is going to be a lot better, because for rugby fans, I can imagine it's becoming a thing of, okay, so now players really can't commit into tackles because now there's a fear of them causing unintended head contact. And again, like I said, it's good to protect the players. It's good to have their best interests at heart. But you could have the unintended effect of players becoming a little bit more cautious when it comes to tackling. If there's anything I know about rugby players, that's not going to be the case. They're still going to go in at 100%, 100 miles an hour, so that's fine. But yeah, there's a little bit of nervousness, I think. And every little decision, like the Irish game, is just being sent to TMO. People being sent off for a bunch of different things. Don't get me wrong, the Irish team were very ill-disciplined against the Boks. But at the same time, Sasha Feinberg and Mngomezulu, that was probably the most controversial decision of the match, because he failed to wrap his arms fully around the opposition player, and he shoulder tackled him basically. That on another day could have been a yellow card. And what some Irish people are saying is, because of the complaining that the Springboks have been the complaints from the Springboks have caused maybe a little bit of pressure on the referees. That could be the case, because when I watched it live, I thought Sasha's gone, like he's going to the sin bin. But we escaped. But later on, the Irish were unlucky after their player was sent off for a clear out on Malcolm Boks. So then that led to the frustration and a bunch of inconsistency. 1 week it's a red card, 1 week it's not a red card, 1 week it's a yellow card, 1 week it's not a yellow card. So it is tricky, because sports like rugby and soccer need context. You can't just enforce things in isolation. You need to understand what's going on. You need to understand, is this intentional by the player? Is it forceful by the player? There was a player who tackled Canan Moodie. I can't remember his name. But Canan Moodie just ran over him and the guy failed to tackle him. And I might have the wrong opinion on this, but that to me, I think the ref at one stage was considering a red card. And to me, it's like, really? Is that a red card? I don't know. He barely touched Canan Moodie's head. And if anything, the Irish player came off worse off. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the changes, if there are going to be changes in the world of rugby. But I think those changes are necessary. But from my side, that's all for today's episode and discussion. I'll be with you later this week. This is the 42 Sports Podcast for the athlete to the world. I hope you have a great Monday and a rest of your week.